And so I was having a conversation with a friend at the run club on Saturday, and I was talking about the recent vision that I've had in my mind about doing this individual high rocks in Dallas. And I have this vision of myself, and it's very rare where this happens, but it is the kind of vision where you have to meet that person that you had in your mind. And it started with the belief that I could actually get there. If I
Mm.
didn't believe I could get there, I'd probably just brush that thought away. But there's this version of me. He's very serious, but very joyful. He's sitting there and he's in the best shape of his life and he's ready to go. Like he's ready to perform. He's very calm and confident and just at a fitness level that I've never been to before. But I now realize I'm able to get there. And so I was talking to him about that. And he mentioned something that to be what when we were talking about, he said, what did he say? He said, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired before I got my vision. And I was
Mm.
like, oh, that's interesting. Tell me more about that. And so he was like, yeah, I was just so disgusted with myself. I hated the feeling, the stress, the pressure of where I was that I had to do something. I had to move. Like it had gotten to rock bottom. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And I think about that for myself. My journey didn't start with a vision. It started with being sick and tired of being sick and tired of not feeling good mentally, physically. And as I got moving, I moved into these phases of different stages of what sick and tired and moving out of it into the place where I was able to have the vision. And
Mm.
so I was thinking about this process and it's available for everyone. And if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, or maybe you're not quite there yet, maybe you're still in the comfort zone before you've hit rock bottom. We're going to discuss today how maybe, and I can't wait to hear what Sean's comments are on this, but like how do you avoid sick and tired, sick and tired? Is it a must? Do you have to get there first, that rock bottom, before you make moves, or can you bypass it and avoid it and jump into the next kind of couple of phases that are the up and out version of you that takes you to where you're able to have a vision? We're going to talk about that too. There's a difference between just having a vision and actually being in a space to have it and obtain it. So yeah, sick and tired. You've said it so many times in the past, Sean, and it's it never loses this power of how important it is. Like, what do you say to that?
Yeah, for me, one of the things that I resonate with is when I think of sick and tired of being sick and tired, I really think from a human standpoint, you have to get to that position in life where you're just, whether it be any area of life, like you're sick and tired of being sick and tired in that area of life, whether that's, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of the way I'm feeling. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of not having any income in my bank account. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of just being a horrible husband. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of my business not running and designing the life that I want to live. I'm in my business and basically just working another job. I'm a prisoner to my business. So
Yeah,
I feel like you have, in my mind, maybe there's a better way that in order for things to change, you have to change. And so when you're up against the wall, and that was me back in a few years ago, my back was against the wall. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired and losing employees and leadership problems and just doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And I think that's a key ingredient because it leads to, in my mind, it's a trigger. It leads to, that trigger can be burnout, dissatisfaction, repeated failures, lack of progress. And I was experiencing each one of these things.
could
Like I
you
was
describe what it felt
dissatisfied.
like?
What's that?
Could you describe what the emotions, the internal feeling of what it's like? I just was thinking it, it's it's almost like this unbearable internal pressure. Like when you're sick and tired, when you're at rock bottom, or and you're done. Like there's nowhere else to go. It's this almost this feeling of, for me, like I, I got to do something. Like, and it's got to happen now. Like I can't sit with this anymore. The thing I've been avoiding, I have to look at it now. I got to
Yeah.
stare it down. And I don't really know how to describe that internal feeling, but for the audience, like trying to relate to them, maybe they're feeling that too. What was that feeling for you? Because you've been there, done that. Like, do you remember the internal feelings?
Yeah, no, agreed. It's exactly what you said. You hit the nail right on the head. It was like, okay, I'm not, whether it was a lack of progress, it was setbacks, challenges, it was repeated failures. When I say failures, meaning employees were leaving, doing the same thing over and over every single day, answering emails with my customers, phone calls, just basically working in the business year after year after year, and then expecting different results. What, what am I doing here? Like I'm on a
Mm.
hamster wheel. I'm just existing. I'm doing the same thing over and over. And so what it really came down to for me was a lack of clarity. When it started, when I opened up the business in 2015, it was, hey, this is what I want the business to do, right? Assets paying for liabilities. But I didn't really have a clear picture. There was no clarity. There was
Mhm.
no, oh, that's the thing, right? And so then you go back to work. You're like, okay, and so recently I've, manifestation, visualization. You think, I want the house. I want the Lamborghini. I want the Shelby Mustang, white Shelby Mustang, black wheels. You manifest it. You got a picture. It's on your wall. You think about it all the time. Your subconscious mind goes to work every single day. You don't think about anything else. Everything else falls by the wayside. It gets neglected, whether that's your health, whether that's your spouse, whether that's your kids, whether that's your every basically every area of life, your friends and family. And so then you pick your head up and here's what happens. A year, 2 years, 3 years, maybe four, maybe five, maybe six, maybe a decade, because your subconscious mind has been at work and that's all you manifest. That's all you think about, that mansion, that car, the financial freedom, whatever it may be. Then here's the thing. When you get that Shelby Mustang, it sits in your driveway, you start it up, you have all this affirmations. People are like, you're the man, Shelby Mustang, that's awesome. 24 hours later, 48 hours later, why am I still missing? Why is there still a hole in my heart? Why do
Mm.
I not feel fulfilled right now?
Yeah.
That, my friend, is the sick and tired of being sick and tired,
Yeah.
because I was weighing all my feelings and fulfillment on external, materialistic things
And listen,
or situations.
listen, what you just said there too, right? You could be down and out, broke, or the business not built yet, and you're sick and tired of that moment, and so you build,
Yeah.
and then you fulfill that, and then you have the money, and then you get the car, house, and still sick and tired. So you could. It's not a matter of finances or situational surroundings, because you can be broke, you can be rich, and sick and tired, still in the same place. And you had mentioned it there, clarity, and we're going to be discussing that a lot going forward. But that moment of discomfort, right? Because it doesn't feel good. You're so sick and tired of being sick and tired that you have to take that action. So something is done next. Like maybe you find some more information. What direction do I need to go? And once you do that, you realize the thing that you haven't been wanting to look at, because you got sick and tired for a reason. Like I know for me, it's like I knew what was happening in the subconscious. I didn't want to look at it, and I'll just push that to the side. I'm going to keep focusing on the car, on the house,
That's
and
right.
not focus on what I need to focus on, because it's scary. That thing you need to look at, it's not normally very comfortable, because it's normally some kind of internal deficiency that we feel, right? It's almost like a dragon you need to slay. And so you don't look at it, you focus on what's fun, what's the dopamine hit, oh, the glory of the car and the finances, and the vision of that. But then you get to that moment of where, and that didn't work. Okay, so now you have to face the dragon. But here's the beautiful part: once you finally face it, you realize it's not a dragon. It's something that you can do. It's something that you can take action on. And if you once you do that, once you realize that moment of sick and tired, you then look at what you need to look at. An action is taken, a reaction almost, right? And then you move into a momentum,
Yes.
because now you've got some more information. You've got the vision, right, of this information that could lead you out of this discomfort. And now you feel a little more confidence.
Yep.
Now, once you get the confidence, then you start to really think, what was I worried about in the first place, right? Because now it's all very clear. The clarity is there. And
Yep.
from the confidence, then you can move into the fact that you are no longer the person you were. You had to level up. And that's the thing. You can stay on this low level and get the car. And because you earned that, right? You earned the house. And I've done this too, but the level of who I was, the dragon wasn't faced. And so now I'm just the lower version who hasn't faced the dragon with the car. Nothing has changed. It's the person that needs to change, right? And once you get to be that person, now you're in a space to have a vision.
Yeah.
because you've leveled up. Now what's possible? I'm the kind of person that can do things.
Mm.
And everything you said, man, I've witnessed you do that. And I look at my own success or man, I don't even want to say success anymore. My success of developing myself as a human being to where I can be content in any situation, which is my true goal, right? Jesus, Paul, the apostle, in jail, was content when he had much and when he had little. And I've always loved that. Like that's true freedom. When you can be in jail and say I'm totally free and totally happy, that's pretty cool. Because then anything that happens after that is a beautiful thing. But what we're talking about today is that sick and tired moment. And if you're there or about to be there, it's awful. It's hell on earth, right? And so, how do you get out? What are the steps? And everything you were saying right there with the car, man, it's the perfect analogy. What did you do? You got the car and you sold it. You eventually sold it, which is wild. What led to that? And then, because now you could buy that car today and it would be a completely different experience.
Yeah.
What could you explain how that would be?
Yeah. So if somebody's listening to this, what I'm thinking is like, if I'm putting myself in their shoes, use the analogy as the Shelby Mustang, right? And so what other, maybe it's a materialistic thing, maybe it's a watch, maybe it's clothing, maybe it's a car, maybe it's a house, maybe it's maybe you're traveling all the time, whatever it may be, whatever that whatever that thing is. For me, when I had that car and I drove it within 24 to 48 hours, I was like, oh, this is cool. This feeling is great. But I soon realized the sick and tired of doing the same thing over and expecting different results. I was purchasing these things to fill a void, to fill fulfillment. But the problem is it wasn't fulfilling me, right? And so
Mm,
if you're listening to this, what are you doing in your life? And I had to reflect back on this and be mindful about it. What am I doing? What are all these decisions and these action steps that I'm taking in my life? And why am I taking these action steps? Because that's leading to, again, dissatisfaction, repeated failures, lack of progress, sick and tired of being sick and tired, which that is all basically the opposite of clarity,
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
It's a lack of. So if you're not clear in what direction that you want to go, you're going through life blindfolded. You're going through life aimless. You will, not if, but you will get to a place where, dude, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. It can be in your 20s, it can be in your 30s, it can be in your 40s or 50s or 60s. It can be on your deathbed,
Yeah.
right?
Not
In
age
that
related.
regret. Now, for me, if somebody's listening to this and they have that aha moment, like, oh, yes, I get it. That's me. I keep doing that over and over and I'm expecting different results. What I would reflect on, oh, these, why am I making these decisions? Oh, to try to fulfill this repeated failure or lack of progress or dissatisfaction, these feelings in these voids. Instead, let's take a step back and go, what small steps on your journey of life in your life will get you to where you want to go and who you want to become? And here's my point. What are your beliefs? What are your values? And we've said this in previous episodes, but the reason this is so important, the reason I keep bringing this up, because how are you going to get super clear on your actions, Ewan, and where you need to go in life if you don't know what's dictating your decisions, your
Mhm.
actions? You can take small steps all day long, but how do you know what small steps to take if you don't have your values, if you don't have your beliefs, and there's a lack of clarity in which direction you need to go? Because then you may just end up, maybe it's not the Shelby Mustang, but maybe it's moving to a different state. I hear stories all the time. People are in a home, they're in a community, and they move. I hear this on podcasts. I hear this from community. I hear this from friends and family. They move thinking that that is going to make them happy, that that is going to be the new direction that they need to head. But then they
Mhm.
soon realize in 6 months, oh, this wasn't the thing. I just uplifted my
Mhm.
entire family. I won't mention names, but you know who I'm talking about. I
Mhm.
just moved my entire family thinking, and my business thinking this was going to fill that fulfillment. And he even says it on his podcast, right? This was a dissatisfaction. I failed forward. We're moving back to the States.
It's one of my favorite sayings. I've said it for a long time. Wherever you go, that's where you are.
100%. That's
Wherever you
good.
go, that's where you are. And you can't escape you. You can't, because you are you. And no matter where you go, and that's kind of ties right back.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And again, I think it's a good place to be in, from just my experience alone, because you can have a guide in, you can listen to the podcast, you can listen to the YouTube, and a lot of this stuff don't may not register, right? You're only filtering in what you want to hear and what you want to apply in your own life, and where you are in that season of life. But man, if you haven't, in the last 15 minutes, that one thing, where is this showing up in the area of life where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired? Because we're all human beings, and there's areas of our life where, like, dang, you know what? I haven't really looked at that. I haven't really looked at and stared it down in that area of life. That I could work on becoming a better version in that area of life. Let me shine the light. Let me put the lens on that. And so a lot of times what I have found is that our decisions and our actions, the small little steps, whether it's health and wellness, showing up to a run club, business, calling the customer, bringing flowers to your wife, whatever it may be, it's because we are, from my experience, is that I'm not staring it down. I've just got my head in the sand, only focused on this one or two different things. That Shelby Mustang, that moving houses, that mansion, that income, making that 100,000, making that million. Because where focus goes, energy flows. And that manifestation, that visualization will neglect everything around you. And then it's not if, but when. It's a ticking time bomb. Because if there's a lack of clarity and understanding, you will subconsciously get to that, right? Typically, you will get to that. But everything else around you is neglected year after year after year. Being clear in your beliefs, in your values, in your vision, and being mindful about looking at this stuff down. Look on a weekly basis, your goals. Is your action steps aligned with your beliefs and your values? And if they're not, it's only a matter of time before Sean picks his head up in 6 months and repeats that same thing, makes the same decision on the Shelby Mustang versus the version of me now. It's for different reasons why I would purchase the Shelby Mustang, not because I was trying to fulfill something. Very sneaky. Yeah. Yep. That's right. Yep. 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 Mm. Yep. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. 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 Yeah, agreed. When you said that, I really think about the gentleman that you're talking about, and just for confidentiality, like, I won't mention his name, but in the run club, he's continued to show up week after week after week. And when he first showed up, it was a struggle to walk. It was a struggle to jog. It was a struggle to run. And now he's doing bleachers. And now his mindset, you can just, his vibe, his body language, his tone, like everything is shifted between his two ears, because he is clear on the steps that he needs to take to who he wants to become. He doesn't have it perfect. It's not exactly to a T on getting those results right now, but it's just the baby steps. It's the awareness, it's the mindfulness, it's the clarity of, okay, these are the activities, these are the steps I need to take every Saturday to become the person that I want to become. What does a runner, what are the activities? So if you're listening to this, in my mind, is what are the activities of somebody that is fulfilled? What are the activities of somebody that has a clear vision? Think about that for a second, right? If somebody would have told me this 3 years ago and said, "Hey, Sean, think about this," and they would have been like, "Before you buy that Shelby Mustang, I just want to ask you a question, or I just want to make a statement. Before you buy that Shelby, before you buy that Shelby Mustang, who the person that buys that Shelby Mustang, what are the reasons for the Shelby Mustang? What is it? I want to buy a Shelby Mustang. Why do you want to buy the Shelby Mustang? I want to buy the Shelby Mustang because I want to buy the Shelby Mustang. Not good enough reason, right? Why do you want to move? Well, because I want to move. I want a bigger house. I want to, I want to host parties. Not a good enough reason. Think about that. That is surface level whys behind it. That is what I mean by a lack of clarity. So if you asked the question in the beginning of the episode, if you want to avoid this of sick and tired being sick and tired, in my mind, is what helps you get super clear is asking yourself the question, slowing down, staring it down, and asking yourself these questions. Why am I making this decision? Why am I going to the run club? Why am I purchasing this Shelby Mustang? Well, I'm going to the run club because that is what an activity of a person who wants to live a healthy well-being, a healthy lifestyle. You're not going to come out of the gates hot and sprint, but a person that lives a healthy lifestyle shows up to a run club and puts in the work behind the scenes, walks, jogs, does the bleachers, and shows up every single Saturday, versus the version that just makes the decision and comes once to the run club and never comes again, never goes the exercise. That same guy, that same version is the same guy that purchases the Shelby Mustang and says, "I'm going to purchase the Shelby Mustang." And it's a one and done. Then you purchase a Shelby Mustang, you purchase the house, you move, you purchase that watch, the clothing, you're like, "I'm still not fulfilled." So you go do that. You go do that time after time after time. It's only a matter of before you're like, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." Well, then guess what? It's two forks in the road. The road most traveled, the road less traveled. The road most traveled is you're going to go repeat that same process down the road most traveled. That's the definition of insanity. Or you stop, pause, make a mental note of this. You go down the road less traveled is, what do I need to ask myself? What the activities do I need to take moving forward to the person who I want to become? That is clarity. That is how you avoid that sick and tired of being sick and tired. When you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you can be in the hospital bed for 3 months. I remember this. I'll share this story for the sake of time. We'll end this. Love my dad to death. My dad, and I've said this before. He had colon cancer. I guess it was about 4 years ago now. He was in the hospital for 3 months, and I remember going there. We had conversations. Dad, you got this. We'd go there. We'd go get some vitamin D. We'd walk him out in the wheelchair, and he'd get some vitamin D, and we'd build him up and just stay positive with him, because if you sitting in the hospital bed, it's just negative vibes. All these thoughts go through your mind. You feel lonely. And my dad, healthy as an ox, and this was the first time in a long time, I guess in probably decades, where he had been sitting in a hospital bed. He came out. He now colon cancer free now. Praise the Lord, right? And he gets out, and then I remember him saying he's going to start tweaking his nutrition. I remember the doctor saying, "Hey, you need to tweak your nutrition, tweak some of the things that you're doing." And so over time, I think that ended up like, okay, cool. Did it for a couple weeks. Now I'm back to feeling normal, back to feeling what I'm familiar with. I'm going to eat whatever I want. I got one life to live. Hey, that's your choice. Cool. More power to you. But I think as human beings, that's what we do, right? We go back to, okay, now that I'm not sick and tired of being sick and tired, Ewan, I'm going to go back to what my familiar self is doing. And that's the thermometer in life, right? Because you're going back to the temperature gauge that your body is used to, that your mind is used to. If you don't continue to stare it down, be mindful about it, and ask yourself the questions on repeat. Yeah. Amen to that. Well, I appreciate all of our listeners and audience. If you make sure one of our future episodes is going to be on clarity. So make sure you like and subscribe. Drop it in the comments on what you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of. Maybe if you don't want to put it in the comments and keep it confidential, send us a DM, and we'll try to point you in the right direction. So appreciate everybody, and level up and live.